Hello, hello, hello! I'm back and today we're making a Pusheen cat. This is a female cat that is from the comic strip, but you probably know her from sticker sets on Facebook. So first to needle felt this little cat, what I'm doing in core wool, just make a kind of flat bottomed pear shape. Literally it wants to be fatter at the bottom, thinner on the top and a little flat on the bottom so that it'll stand up by itself. And then I'm just going to cover it in some grey wool and then work on shaping it to some more. You can see the Pusheen picture behind that I'm working from. It's not going to be exactly the same, but I just love this image of Pusheen eating the donut, so that's what I'm doing. The core wool just helped give it some extra strength because the tops, the grey roving, is not really the best stuff in the entire world, what I've got. So just felt away at that until it's nice, firm, smooth, flat bottom pear shape. Pusheen was created in 2010 by Claire Bolton and Andrew Duff for their website Everything Cute, and the name Pusheen comes from Pusheen, which is kitten in Gaelic, which is totally adorable. And so after a good amount of felting, this is the shape I have, a kind of flat bottomed pear shape really. It's relatively firm but not solidly firmed, and then I'm just making shapes for the ears. So this is just a couple of pinches of the grey and I'm felting it into pyramid shapes really. It's a sort of round bottomed pyramid, that cone, that's the word I'm looking for. Felting them into cone shapes, not too firmly at all, and we're going to fit them onto the top of the head once I'm relatively happy with the kind of cone shape. So what we're doing just now, this is cat season. I'm going to be making several cat videos because cats has been the most asked for thing. So I have new ideas, I have new methods for making the more realistic cat faces. But first of all, we want to cover some of these cartoon cats. They are such awesome fun. They've been with us, some from childhood and some fairly new, like this one from 2010. And I believe just trying lots of different styles of cats from cartoon to realistic will give you a better idea of what your style is going to be. So work on lots of different things and then you'll build up to your own individual style. So the ears are going on at the narrowest point of this pear shape onto the top of the head and just felting them in. They're as soft as this so I can manipulate them and get them to the kind of shape that I want, just following on from the picture that I have. And now to make the donut. I'm using this kind of golden yellowy coloured fleece for no other reason other than I have tons of it lying about. I've spoke about this before when I've tried to get a nice colour sort of for a Labrador type dog. I keep buying this same colour, so I make a kind of almost tube here and then flip it round on itself so it's a donut basically. It's a ring shape. And I'm just trying to felt away, and it's pretty fiddly at this stage, but as you'll see in a second, I had a genius idea to make it even better. But just making some little extra features so I can take this all away and felt in front of the tally later on. So taking a strip of fleece, just winding it around my needle. You do not need any specialist tools or anything, and that's going to be the cat poking out the side of the body. This is a difficulty taking cartoon characters and making them real life or making them 3D, is the dimensions aren't always exactly the same. The things don't always come from the right places, so you just work on a compromise between it looking like the cartoon but also being kind of realistic. Now with the tail also, I would have felted it loads more before I popped it on the body, but I was just wanting to get something done. So felt it till it's a much firmer tail and then pop it onto the body. And here I'm working on getting her feet and getting her little paws to hold the donut as well. Pusheen is a grey tabby domestic short hair cat, and she actually has a sister called Stormy as well. So once I've got the basics, like any of my sculptures, I make the kind of basic shapes and then I go and sit in front of the tally and felt them till they're nice and firm. So with the legs and the paw and the front paws, I know I said the top paws there, with the legs and the front paws, I'm making the front, I'm making a kind of tube shape, but I'm leaving wispy bits at the edge. And then just before I go on and felt more firmly, I'm putting in the tabby markings as well, which are the distinctive 3 little stripes in between the ears, a couple of stripes each side of the body, just literally following the pictures that I've found. And there's hundreds of pictures on the internet of Pusheen. She's so popular. And that is another good point. Did you know that she's a she? Most people don't realise Pusheen is a female cat. And Pusheen is actually based on the real cat. She was Claire's childhood cat. She still stays at home, or as far as I could tell from my research, I can't tell if she's still alive, but let's hope she is. She was adopted from the shelter when Claire was 9 years old, and the real Pusheen is around 18 years old now, hopefully, and still stays with Claire's parents. Okay, so we've got the paws nice and firm, the tail's on nice and firm, the markings and little eyes. And here is this genius idea I had for the donut that I told you about earlier. I discovered to keep the hole intact, it was much easier to pop my pen through the donut and just carefully felting, making sure obviously I don't stick the needle into the pen. But this is it, you don't need to spend money on expensive equipment for your needle felting. For thin things, I wrap around either just my needle or a skewer or a knitting needle, and pens, bits of wood, bits of rulers, anything you've got lying about will do if you need some kind of tool. And I have to say, this pen was a touch of genius. So I'm adding a bit of pink onto the top of the donuts to make the frosting. I'm super happy with how this turned out. I've never needle felted a donut before. I'm trying to make a slightly uneven drippy edge to the frosting, to the icing. We call it icing in the UK. Frosting's quite an American thing. So I'm trying to get the icing with the kind of uneven edge to make it look a little like it's dripped, and trying to make it not completely flat, have a line, it be slightly fatter, thicker than the donut, so it looks like it's something on top of the donut. And then I'm just using different colours. What have I got? I've got red, yellow and blue, and I'm making tiny balls to be the sprinkles on top of the donut. So just rolling them up between my fingers, and then I'm just going to felt them on top of the donut. And yeah, for the yellow I'm using this horrible golden colour. It's not horrible, it's just pretty useless in most things that I want, but it really does the job here quite fine. You could also, if you're making baked goods and things like that, you can also shade them with chalks if you need to, but I found with the icing on top, just having the solid colour, it's a cartoon, it doesn't have to look too realistic, and I think this came out fairly cartoony. So as I say, this is going to be cat season. We're going to be trying lots of different cats. We've got cats from my childhood, Halloween cats, realistic cats. So if you have any favourite cats, let me know what they are and I'll look them up and see. And also I want to include, as I have with Pusheen here, I want to learn a little bit of the history of these cats as well. So if that interests you, I'll be throwing in some of the story here too. Okay, so donut felted on the face, and I'm felting the paws in to support the donut as well. And the straggly bits of the paws, I'm just felting that in between the stripes at the side of her body, just so that I probably should have left the stripes on till later. So if you're making this yourself, leave the stripes on and then you can felt the arms in and then put the stripes on top of wherever any wispy bit goes. But this worked out fine. I just have to blend a little bit so it doesn't look too obvious. But just felting all this, and I wanted to kind of have the shape of the donut so it was sticking out more at the bottom, so it really looks like she's trying to stuff it into her mouth. Because as we know from all cartoon cats, that cats are pretty greedy for lasagna and sweet treats. And then popping her legs on, pointing in a sideways direction, coming out at a random location that legs would probably never work like, but it works. It works for this. And then I don't think I caught all of this on camera, but in the picture you can sort of see the wiggly line above the donut is supposed to be her mouth. So what I did with that was made a kind of W shape, which is two humps, two ghost shapes, as Serafina would say, and I lined them in black and then just blended that onto her face and let the the liney bits pop over the donut to make it look like she was really stuffing the donut into her mouth. You'll hopefully see that clearer later when it's felted onto the body. So yeah, there's two semicircles and then a tail, a thread of black. And just got to be really careful when felting this, not to felt, to felt right into the center of the piece and not let stray straggly bits of black poke out through the actual grey of her mouth. But yeah, although it's kind of weird, I think it turned out pretty good as a little mouth, as a little extra there. So there's the two pieces, just joining them together. I probably could have made them even more tiny, but hey, why not have a massive big mouth for her to stuff the donut into? I've not had a donut for so long. Do you know, there's a Krispy Kreme opened near us and I've never had a Krispy Kreme, and everyone tells me I really should have Krispy Kreme donuts. Yeah, finishing off her markings, I'd obviously forgot to put her tail markings on, so just wrapping some strips of black round as well. Any of these bits, I just pop them on a bit loosely and then in front of the tally, felt away, make them a whole lot neater. But you're seeing the basic process of everything that I'm doing here. And then once that's all smoothed out, felted on, you can see her little mouth. All that I need now is Whiskers, and as this is cartoony, I'm just making it super simple of rolling little threads between my fingers to make the wispy shape. You can also use, for less cartoony animals, I found just using thread, it's strong enough. A reasonably thick thread can be strong enough to support itself. You could lightly wax a thread or use something like paver pole to harden it, although I've never found that the best way to do it, because I always tend to, with a paver pole, end up getting in a mess before it dries properly, so I don't tend to do that. People have good experience using fishing line as well, but yeah, plenty of things to do. I just wanted to say here as well, I want to thank you all for the really kind messages that I've been getting while I've not been able to make videos. I just had a bit of a cold, nothing terrible, you can probably still hear it in my voice, but I just couldn't record for you because you didn't want to listen to me sniffing and coughing and feeling sorry for myself. But thank you so much for the kind messages. That meant the world to me, that you guys were thinking of me. I'm absolutely fine, just a wee touch of the lurgy, but I don't get the cold very often, so I'm quite dramatic about it when I do get it. So you can see these little whiskers. Now after they're rolled, I could have felted them slightly between my fingers to make sure that they're slightly firmer felted than this, they're more together, but this worked perfectly fine, just rolling them fairly tight. And if you're just making it for yourself, you could just wet your fingers dipping them into a bit of water or whatever, but let's be honest here, I just licked my fingers to get a little bit of dampness to really forcefully twist the fibres a little bit better, just to roll them really firmly between my fingers. And there we have her Whiskers, and that is our first cat of the season. This is the adorable little Pusheen. I loved making her, but I also loved learning more about her. We've all seen the little stickers on Facebook, and that's about all I knew from her. I'll leave links to the website from the comic strip of Everyday Cute in the comments below. But thank you so much for joining us. If you let us know in the comments what are your favourite cats, and I'll see you next time.